For decades, the moon was a dead rock. We went there, planted a flag, and mostly forgot about it. But in the last 24 months, something dramatic changed. Suddenly, two nuclear powers, China and India, are in a desperate race, pouring billions into lunar missions. And they are not going to the familiar visible side of the moon. They are targeting the darkest, most treacherous region, the lunar South Pole. Why the sudden obsession with a place no human has ever seen? A place where temperatures plunge to minus 240 degrees Celsius and craters are so deep they're permanently shrouded in shadow? Scientists claimed it was for water ice, a precious resource for future colonies. But new leaked data suggests something far more profound, something buried deep beneath the surface. In 2023, India's Chandrayaan-3 mission made history, landing its Pragyan rover just kilometers from the South Pole. Its sensors immediately began sending back bizarre data, in unexpected thermal anomalies, strange seismic vibrations unlike any ordinary moonquakes, and magnetic fluctuations that defied explanation. Was it a glitch, or was the rover picking up a faint pulse from something buried below? Just months later, China's Chang'e 6 mission followed, landing directly into the ancient South Pole Aitken Basin. This isn't just a crater, it's a scar on the moon, one of the largest and oldest impact structures in the entire solar system. Its mission was clear: drill deep, collect samples, and bring them back to Earth. But what exactly were they looking for in that ancient alien soil, and why did they choose that exact spot? Because what China and India are finding isn't ice, it's something colossal, something metallic, something so unbelievably massive that it's been distorting the moon's gravity field for billions of years. An ominous tone, something that shouldn't logically exist where it is. NASA satellites have known about this anomaly for years. They called them mass cons, but recent missions, particularly from China and India, have narrowed it down. Beneath the South Pole Aitken Basin lies a buried structure estimated to weigh over 2 quadrillion tons. That's 2 followed by 15 zeros. Stunned silence. Imagine burying an entire continent of pure metal beneath the moon's surface. This isn't just geology, this is a cosmic secret, and the two most ambitious space programs on Earth are now locked in a desperate race to uncover it. Demanding tone. They didn't just find something under the moon that shouldn't exist, they found something that is pulling at the moon itself, and it's only a matter of time before they pull it out.
To understand why China and India are so obsessed with this region, you have to understand the sheer, terrifying scale of what is hiding there. For decades, NASA's Grail satellites, 2 spacecraft orbiting the moon to map its gravity, noticed something was pulling on them. Every time they passed over the South Pole Aitken Basin, they accelerated. Something down there was grabbing them with an invisible gravitational hand. But the data that came back recently from the latest lunar missions changed everything. This isn't just a dense patch of rock. We're talking about a mass concentration so dense, so heavy, that it has actually pushed the lunar floor down by more than half a mile. Scientists at Baylor University analyzed the data and reached a conclusion that sounds like something out of a sci-fi thriller. They found a mass of metal, primarily iron and nickel, buried 300 kilometers deep. Its weight? Over 2 quadrillion tons. Let that number sink in. 2,180,000 billion kilograms. If you took all the iron and steel ever produced in human history, it wouldn't even be a fraction of this anomaly. It is a metallic continent, a shadow giant anchored deep within the lunar mantle. But here is the real mystery that has the world's space agencies in a panic. Why is this massive structure right where China and India decided to land? Some geologists suggest it's the remains of an asteroid that crashed into the moon 4 billion years ago, but others aren't so sure. For an object this size to stay lodged in the mantle without sinking into the core, it would have to be incredibly stable, almost as if it were anchored. NASA has been quiet about the specific composition of this mass con, but the new players in the race, ISRO and the CNSA, aren't following the old rules of silence. While the West talks about geology, the East is looking at resources, and perhaps something else. If this is just a natural asteroid, it is the most anomalous one in the history of the solar system. But if it isn't, then what exactly did China and India just park their rovers on top of? Are we looking at the core of a dead planet or the foundation of something that was built to stay?
While the rest of the world was watching the grainy footage of the landings, the real data, the raw, unfiltered signals began streaming back to mission control in Beijing and Bengaluru, and that's where things got weird. India's Chandrayaan-3 wasn't just there to take photos, it deployed a seismic sensor called ILSA. Its job was to listen to the moon's heartbeat, and it heard something that shouldn't exist on a geologically dead world. It recorded vibrations that lasted for hours, persistent, rhythmic pulses that didn't look like a typical meteor impact. It was as if something deep underground was reacting to the rover's presence. Some in the Indian space community started calling it the Indian Whisper. At the same time, China's Chang'e 6 was busy on the far side doing something no one had ever done: drilling. They weren't just grabbing dust from the surface, they were digging for the blood of the moon. When the samples were analyzed, the results were a slap in the face to traditional geology. They found high concentrations of rare earth elements and isotopes that are usually found only in the deepest layers of a planet's core. How did this material get so close to the surface? The answer lies 300 kilometers down in that 2 quadrillion-ton anomaly. This brings us to the question that no government official wants to answer. What is this thing really? The official line is that it's a metallic asteroid from a 4-billion-year-old collision, but look at the math. The answer lies 300 kilometers down in that 2 quadrillion-ton anomaly. This brings us to the question that no government official wants to answer. What is this thing really? The official line is that it's a metallic asteroid from a 4-billion-year-old collision, but look at the math. For an asteroid to leave a perfect, concentrated 2 quadrillion-ton slab of metal that doesn't sink into the core, the physics have to be convenient. This is where the artifact hypothesis comes in. Some rogue researchers suggest we aren't looking at a rock at all. They point to the hollow moon theory, not the idea that the moon is an empty balloon, but that it is a protected environment. Imagine a massive, ancient technological structure, a foundation made of iron and nickel designed to stabilize the moon's orbit or serve as a long-term anchor. Think about it. If you wanted to hide something for billions of years, where would you put it? Not on a planet with water, wind, and shifting tectonic plates. You'd put it inside a dead, airless satellite. You'd bury it under 300 kilometers of lunar crust where no telescope could ever see it. Is it a corpse of a dead planet or foundation of something artificial? The vibrations India heard and the strange isotopes China found suggest that this metallic giant isn't just sitting there, it's interacting with the environment. It has its own magnetic field, its own pulse. If China and India are truly uncovering an ancient artifact, the implications are terrifying. It would mean the moon isn't just a satellite, it's a vault, and the two nations currently drilling into that vault might be about to trigger a security system that has been dormant for eons. We are no longer asking if there is something under the moon. We are asking, are we supposed to be waking it up? But there is a reason why NASA, despite knowing about this anomaly for decades, never dared to land there during the Apollo era. It wasn't just the darkness or the cold, it was the trap. You see, the 2 quadrillion-ton mass beneath the South Pole Aitken Basin isn't just sitting there, it is actively warping the space around it. Pilots and orbital mechanics call them mascons, or mass concentrations, but this one is different. It's a gravitational anomaly so powerful that it creates mascon sickness for any spacecraft in low lunar orbit. If a satellite's trajectory isn't corrected every few days, the invisible pull of this metallic giant will literally snatch it out of the sky and slam it into the lunar dust. China and India didn't just stumble into this, they walked straight into the mouth of the beast. Recent data leaks from the CNSA suggest that the Chang'e 6 orbiter performed its maneuvers. It experienced gravitational glitches that defied standard lunar models. It was as if the gravity wasn't coming from a single point, but was shifting, flickering, as if the mass below was adjusting. India's ISRO encountered a similar phenomenon.
During the final descent of Chandrayaan-3, the onboard computers had to fight against a localized gravitational surge that was nearly 10% stronger than predicted. India's engineers managed to land it, but the message was clear: something down there is heavy in a way that science cannot fully explain. Why is this a trap? Because the more we learn about this metallic structure, the more we realize it acts as a cosmic magnet for everything in its vicinity. It's not just pulling on satellites, it's pulling on the very fabric of the moon's mantle. Some researchers believe this anomaly is the reason the moon is tidally locked to Earth, that this massive weight acts like a lead sinker on a fishing line, keeping one side of the moon forever pointed at us, while the far side hides its dark secret. But here's the geopolitical nightmare. This isn't just a scientific mystery, it's a gold mine of impossible proportions. If that 2 quadrillion-ton structure is indeed composed of rare earth metals, iron and nickel, it represents more wealth than the entire global economy of Earth. China and India aren't just there for samples, they're there to plant a stake. They're trying to figure out how to access the most valuable object in the solar system. But to get to it, they have to drill through 300 kilometers of radioactive lunar crust while fighting a gravitational field that wants to crush their equipment. We are witnessing the first territorial war of the space age. But as the rovers dig deeper and the gravitational pull grows stronger, a terrifying question remains. If we successfully unlock this mass, what happens to the moon's stability? If you remove the lead sinker, does the pendulum stop swinging, or does it break? For half a century, we looked at the moon and saw a trophy, a place where we proved our greatness and then left it behind. We thought we had mapped every inch of its barren, cratered skin. How arrogant we were. What China and India have uncovered isn't just a geological anomaly. Whether it is the iron heart of a shattered planet or an ancient artificial foundation, one thing is now undeniable. The moon is not empty. It is a vault of unimaginable scale, and the 2 quadrillion-ton giant is the key to a history we are only beginning to understand. Think about the timing. Why now? Why are we suddenly capable of detecting the whispers and the glitches that remained hidden for billions of years? Perhaps we weren't ready to see it. Or perhaps as we prepare to become a multiplanetary species, the moon is finally revealing itself. As China plans its permanent lunar station and India prepares its next wave of Chandrayaan missions, the stakes have shifted. This is no longer about science. It is about who controls the anchor of our world. If that metallic mass contains the resources we suspect, the nation that reaches it first will not just lead the space race, they will control the future of human civilization. But as we drill into the lunar mantle, as we knock on the door of this 2 quadrillion-ton secret, we must ask ourselves, what if the vault was never meant to be opened? If the moon is indeed a stabilized, locked environment, a lead sinker on a cosmic line, what happens when we start to dismantle it? What happens when we disturb the shadow giant that has kept our tides moving and our seasons stable for eons? We came to the moon looking for water and dust. Instead, we found a titan, a metallic ghost from a forgotten age that is still pulling on our world with an invisible iron grip. The next few years will change everything. As the first samples from the deep anomaly reach our labs, the textbooks will have to be burned. The moon is not our sister, it is a stranger, a silent watcher that has been hiding its heaviest secret right under our feet. We are finally listening to the Indian whisper, we are finally touching the Chinese metal, and as we look up at that silver disk in the night sky, we have to realize we're not looking at a rock anymore. We're looking at a mystery that weighs 2 quadrillion tons, and it's just starting to wake up.
Mars. We've been staring at its red, dusty surface for decades. We've sent orbiters, landers, and high-tech rovers. We thought we knew everything there was to know about the Martian desert. But we were looking at the wrong place. We were looking at the surface, while the real secret was hiding right beneath our feet. While NASA's rovers were busy searching for microscopic fossils in ancient craters, China's Zhurong rover arrived with something the Americans didn't have: a specialized ultra-high-frequency ground-penetrating radar. It didn't just take pictures, it X-rayed the planet. And what it found 35 meters beneath the vast plains of Utopia Planitia has sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. Imagine driving across a flat, featureless desert only for your sensors to reveal a hidden world beneath you. Not just rocks, not just sand, but 16 massive, perfectly geometric structures. 16 giant polygons aligned with a precision that seems to defy nature itself. This isn't just a cool find, this is a scientific impossibility. According to our current understanding of Mars, these structures shouldn't be there. They are too large, too deep, and far too organized. For months, the Chinese National Space Administration kept the raw data under wraps, but as the leaks began to surface, the truth became unavoidable. China didn't just find more dust, they found a buried map of a Mars we never knew existed. A Mars that looks suspiciously like it was once home to something massive. In this video, we are peeling back the layers of the red planet. We will analyze the leaked radar scans that NASA is refusing to comment on. We will explore why these 16 buried giants are located in a region where they are physically impossible to form. And finally, we will ask the question everyone is afraid to voice. Are we looking at a freak of nature, or are we looking at the foundations of a world that was intentionally buried billions of years ago? If you want to stay ahead of the curve on the secrets they aren't telling you about the space race, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We are diving into the deepest mysteries of the solar system, and you don't want to miss what we found in part 2. Trust me, the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. As the Zhurong rover slowly crawled across the desolate surface of Utopia Planitia, its radar was quietly mapping a ghost world beneath. 1.2 kilometers into its journey, the data revealed a pattern that stopped the Chinese research team in their tracks. It wasn't just one anomaly, it was 16. These aren't small rocks or random cracks. We are talking about polygonal wedges, geometric shapes that measure up to 70 meters across. To put that in perspective, each of these structures is nearly as wide as a football field, and they are bordered by massive wedges that plunge 30 meters deep into the Martian soil. But here's where the science starts to feel like science fiction. On Earth, we do see similar patterns. They're called patterned ground, found in the freezing tundras of Antarctica or the Arctic. They form when the ground freezes and contracts, creating cracks that fill with ice. But there are 3 massive problems with what China found on Mars. First, the scale. The Zhurong polygons are 10 times larger than anything we see on Earth. Imagine a natural process creating a perfect hexagon the size of a city block, buried 35 meters underground. Second, the location. Zhurong is sitting near the Martian equator, the warmest part of the planet. Today, it is a bone-dry desert. In the current climate, it is physically impossible for ice wedges like this to form there. It would be like finding a massive glacier buried under the sands of the Sahara. And third, the depth. These 16 giants are buried under 35 meters of solid sediment. This means they weren't formed recently. They're paleopolygons, ghosts of a Mars that existed 3 billion years ago. Something catastrophic happened to Mars, something that created these massive, organized structures and then buried them so deep that we needed an X-ray rover to find them. NASA's rovers have seen polygons on the surface before, but they were always small and wind-eroded. China's discovery is different. By looking deep, they found the foundation of an era we don't understand. Some scientists suggest it's just ancient ice, but others look at the perfect repeating geometry and wonder if you were going to build a foundation for a world, wouldn't it look exactly like this? As we speak, Chinese analysts are still decoding the density of these 35-meter deep structures. Are they just ice, or are they the hollowed-out remains of something else? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. Mars is not a pile of red dust. It is a planet with a basement full of secrets.
If these 16 buried giants were created by ice and water, it leads us to a terrifying conclusion. For structures of this size to form at the Martian equator, the planet didn't just have a little bit of water, it was drowning in it.
China's research team at the Institute of Geology and Geophysics has proposed a radical theory. These structures were formed during a period of extreme climatic fluctuations. In plain English, a global cataclysm. Roughly 3 billion years ago, the Martian atmosphere didn't just fade away, it was ripped away or collapsed. The massive floods that once carved the valleys of Utopia Planitia were suddenly frozen solid in a matter of days, if not hours. Imagine a flood so powerful it carries millions of tons of sediment, followed by a freeze so deep it cracks the very foundation of the planet. That is what is buried 35 meters beneath the Zhurong rover. But there's a detail in the Chinese data that has theorists losing their minds. The layers of soil above these polygons are completely different from the soil inside them. This suggests that after these geometric giants formed, they were hit by a massive secondary event, a great burying. A wall of mud and debris, possibly miles high, swept across the planet, sealing these structures in a vacuum-tight tomb. This is why they're so perfectly preserved. They haven't seen the sun in 3 billion years. But why does the geometry remain so sharp? If you leave a crack in the mud on Earth, it erodes, it softens. But the radar images from Zhurong show edges that are almost surgical. This has led to a growing underground theory among space analysts. What if China isn't looking at ice wedges at all? What if these polygons are the reinforced cells of an ancient planetary-scale infrastructure? Some argue that if an advanced civilization wanted to survive a dying atmosphere, they wouldn't build on the surface, they would build into it. They would create modular geometric habitats capable of withstanding the weight of an entire ocean. NASA scientists officially dismissed this, claiming nature loves hexagons. And they are right, look at beehives or basalt columns. But nature rarely builds hexagons the size of skyscrapers and then buries them in a perfect line across a 1,000-mile basin. The deeper China digs into the data, the more it looks like Mars was renovated by a massive force, either by a natural disaster beyond our comprehension, or by something that knew how to manipulate the very crust of the planet. And the most chilling part? These 16 polygons are just the ones Zhurong drove over. There could be millions of them, a grid covering the entire northern hemisphere, hidden forever under the red dust.
While the scientific world debates ice wedges and sediment layers, a much larger game is being played. The discovery of these 16 buried giants has turned the Mars race into a sprint for something far more valuable than scientific papers. It's about the first drill. NASA's Perseverance rover is currently searching for microscopic life in the Jezero crater, but China's Zhurong has shown us that the real history of Mars isn't on the surface, it's locked in the basement. This is why China has officially accelerated its Mars sample return mission. They aren't just looking for rocks, they are looking for the DNA of these geometric structures. They want to be the first to touch the material that was buried 3 billion years ago. Think about what happens if we confirm these polygons aren't natural. If we find that the 120-degree angles are too perfect, or that the material inside is reinforced by elements that don't belong on Mars, it would mean that we aren't the first intelligent presence on this planet. It would mean that Mars didn't just die, it was abandoned. Some whistleblowers suggest that the silence from the West regarding China's radar data is intentional. If the public realizes that there is a massive geometric grid buried under the Martian equator, the pressure to send humans there would become overwhelming. We wouldn't be sending astronauts to explore, we would be sending them to an archaeological dig of a global scale. We've spent trillions of dollars looking for a single cell of a Martian microbe. But what if the answer is 2,180 trillion tons of geometric foundation? As you watch this, both China and the US are finalizing plans for their first crewed missions. The great burying that hid these structures for 3 billion years is finally being undone. We are about to crack the seal on a planetary tomb, and the question isn't just what is inside. The question is, are we ready for what we might find? Mars is no longer just a destination. It's a message written in 70-meter hexagons, buried 35 meters deep, waiting for someone to finally listen. China is already listening. India is joining the race. NASA is watching, and the red planet is finally starting to speak. If you think the moon was full of secrets, just wait until we start digging into Mars. Make sure to share your theories in the comments. Are these natural ice wedges, or is this something else entirely? Don't forget to check out our other investigation on the lunar anomaly.
For over 50 years, we were told the moon was a dead, airless tomb of gray dust and jagged rocks. We were taught that its surface was a silent witness to a violent past, frozen in time. But we were lied to. Or, at the very least, we were looking at the wrong side. In 2022, China's Yutu-2 rover, the first human craft to ever traverse the mysterious far side of the moon, sent back a series of images that shouldn't exist. Nestled in the desolate monochromatic regolith of the von Karman crater, the rover's cameras locked on to something alien, perfect, translucent glass spheres. These aren't tiny microscopic fragments. We're talking about centimeter-sized glass pearls glowing faintly against the dark lunar soil like jewels dropped in a desert. They are translucent, they are smooth, and they are mathematically round. While NASA's Apollo missions brought back tiny glass beads before, they were always opaque, dark, and scarred by radiation. China's glass pearls are different. They look fresh. They look manufactured. The scientific community immediately went into a frenzy. How does nature create a perfect glass sphere on a planet with no water, no atmosphere, and supposedly no volcanic activity for billions of years? The official explanation from the Chinese National Space Administration, CNSA, is that these spheres formed during a high-energy meteorite impact. They claim the heat melted the lunar crust, splashing molten rock into the air, where it cooled into glass before falling back to the surface. But there is a massive problem with that theory. Impact glass is usually filled with impurities, bubbles, streaks of metal, and bits of rock, but the Yutu-2 spheres are remarkably clear. To get glass this pure on Earth, you need a controlled laboratory environment and specific cooling rates. Furthermore, these spheres were found in an area that hasn't seen a major impact in millions of years. So why are they sitting on top of the dust, unweathered and unscratched? As the rover moved closer to analyze the composition, something even stranger happened. The transmission from the South Pole Aitken Basin suddenly became irregular. For weeks, the public heard nothing. When the images finally surfaced, they were heavily processed, leading independent analysts to believe that the CNSA was hiding the true nature of these objects. Some whistleblowers within the aerospace community suggest that these aren't just rocks, they are ancient planetary-scale sensors, or perhaps remnants of a glass-based infrastructure that once spanned the lunar interior. The deeper the Yutu-2 roves, the more it seems the far side is actually the hidden side, a place where the rules of geology are being rewritten. These glass beads aren't just curiosities, they're the eyes of the moon staring back at us, whispering a secret about what lies beneath the crust. And as we will see, this glass isn't just a surface anomaly, it is a leak from a world inside the moon that is far more active and far wetter than NASA ever dared to tell us. We are only just beginning to uncover the truth about why China is so obsessed with the far side. If you want to be the first to know what they found in the latest soil samples and why it points to a massive hidden ocean, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe right now. The story of the glass moon is just getting started, and the next discovery is going to change everything you thought you knew about our celestial neighbor. While the glass spheres on the surface captured the world's imagination, the true bombshell was hidden inside a few grams of gray dust brought back by the Chang'e 5 mission. When Chinese scientists began peeling back the layers of these lunar soil samples, they didn't just find minerals, they found the impossible: water. But not on the way you'd expect. This wasn't ice hidden in shadows. This was water trapped inside the very molecular structure of the glass beads. And when they did the math, the scale of the discovery sent shockwaves through NASA and every space agency on Earth. We aren't talking about a few puddles. We are talking about an estimated 270 billion tons of water locked just beneath the lunar surface. For decades, the giant impact hypothesis told us that the moon was born from a fiery collision that vaporized all volatile elements. According to this theory, the moon should be bone dry. But China's discovery has effectively killed that narrative.
These tiny glass impact beads act like microscopic sponges. They absorb hydrogen from the solar wind and react with the oxygen in the lunar soil, creating water and storing it safely inside their glass shells. This means the moon has a self-sustaining water cycle that we never even suspected. It's not a dry rock, it's a giant celestial reservoir. But there is a darker, more intriguing side to this data. The concentration of water in certain areas of the far side suggests that it's not just coming from the solar wind. Some researchers at the Chinese Academy of Sciences have proposed a radical alternative: outgassing. They believe that deep within the moon's mantle there are still active volcanic processes pushing moisture toward the surface. If this is true, it means the moon's core is not cold, it's warm. And where there is heat and water trapped under a thick crust, there is the potential for something we never dared to dream of on the moon: hydrothermal environments. As China began releasing these findings, the international community noticed a strange pattern in the data. The highest concentrations of these water-bearing beads were found near massive gravitational anomalies, areas where the moon's mass is strangely dense. It's as if the water is being held there, concentrated around something heavy and metallic deep beneath the regolith. Is it just a coincidence of geology, or is the water being attracted to something artificial buried miles beneath the regolith? The implications are staggering. If the moon is sitting on billions of tons of water, it is no longer just a destination for exploration. It is the ultimate gas station in space. This water can be broken down into hydrogen for rocket fuel and oxygen for breathing. This discovery explains why China is moving with such unprecedented speed. They aren't just looking for water, they are mapping the lifeblood of a future lunar empire. A world that was once thought to be a desert is now revealed to be a treasure chest, and the glass beads were the keys that unlocked it.
Discovery is one thing, but occupation is another. For the Chinese National Space Administration, CNSA, finding 270 billion tons of water wasn't just a scientific achievement, it was the green light for a colonial expansion. The glass pearls and the hidden reservoirs are located in the most strategic real estate in the solar system, the lunar South Pole and the deep basins of the far side. While the rest of the world watched NASA struggle with launch delays, China was quietly mapping something far more valuable than surface dust: the lunar lava tubes. These aren't just small caves. Some of these underground tunnels are miles wide, large enough to house entire cities. And here is where the story gets chilling. The areas where China discovered the highest concentrations of water-bearing glass beads perfectly overlap with the entrances to these massive underground voids. By securing the water, China has secured the life support system for a subterranean fortress. Protected by miles of solid rock from solar radiation and meteorite strikes, these lava tubes provide the perfect environment for a permanent, hidden presence. But why the rush? The answer lies in the chemistry. This lunar water isn't just for drinking. Through electrolysis, it can be split into liquid hydrogen and oxygen, the most powerful rocket propellant known to man. By controlling the water, China effectively controls the refueling station for the entire solar system. A rocket launched from the moon using lunar-produced fuel can reach Mars or the asteroid belt with a fraction of the cost and energy of a rocket launched from Earth. This isn't just about exploring the moon, it's about establishing a high-ground monopoly. This strategic move has sent shockwaves through the Pentagon and NASA. The Artemis program was supposed to return Americans to the moon, but China's rapid progress has turned it into a desperate sprint. Leaked intelligence suggests that the CNSA is already testing lunar bricks made from 3D printed regolith, designed specifically to seal these lava tubes. They are building a world that the West cannot see from the surface. While NASA's telescopes are looking down at the moon, China is already looking out from it. The moon fortress isn't a theory of the future, it is the reality of the present. As we speak, automated Chinese drills are likely penetrating the glass-rich crust to tap into the reservoirs we discussed in Part 2. The race for the moon has moved from who can land first to who can stay forever. And with the discovery of 270 billion tons of water, China has just secured the ultimate home field advantage. The question is, once they go underground, will they ever let anyone else in? Everything we have uncovered so far, the perfect glass spheres, the hundreds of billions of tons of water, and the vast hollow lava tubes, points to a single, inescapable conclusion. The moon is not the dead celestial accident we were taught it was. The more China's rovers and landers dig into the crust, the more they find a world that looks suspiciously like it was designed to sustain life. We are witnessing a total paradigm shift. If the moon has its own internal water cycle and the structural integrity to house entire civilizations, we have to ask the ultimate question: has someone already been there? For decades, the spaceship moon theory was relegated to the fringes of science fiction, but the discovery of these translucent glass beads has brought it back into the light. In nature, glass of this purity and shape is an anomaly. In engineering, glass is a perfect insulator and a medium for data. If the moon's interior is as hollow and water-rich as the latest data suggests, it behaves less like a planetary fragment and more like a biological ark. A world that was either renovated billions of years ago or placed in our orbit with the specific intent of serving as a future sanctuary. China is not just looking for rocks, they're looking for the manual. The speed at which they are moving toward a manned landing, now scheduled for before 2030, suggests they aren't just curious explorers, they're looking for something specific, something buried 35 meters deep, just like the structures they found on Mars. When the first taikonauts step into the dark shadows at the South Pole, they won't just be planting a flag, they will be the first humans in history to crack the seal on a planetary tomb that has been waiting for 3 billion years. If the moon is indeed alive with water and heat, it means the era of Earth-centrism is over. We are no longer the only island in a vast dry ocean. Our closest neighbor is a reservoir, a fortress, and perhaps even a witness to our own origins. The great silence of the moon is ending, and the voice that is emerging is one of profound mystery. Are we returning to the moon, or are we simply being allowed back in? As the race between the East and the West intensifies, the truth is no longer hidden in the stars, it's hidden in the dust beneath our feet. The glass beads were the first clue, but they are only the beginning. The next mission will take us deeper, into the tunnels and into the heart of the moon itself. What do you think China will find when they enter the first lava tube? Is the moon a natural wonder, or is it an ancient, abandoned megastructure? Share your wildest theories in the comments. I read every single one. Make sure to share this video with anyone who still thinks the moon is just a rock. If you missed our previous investigation on the secret countdown from the void, click the video on your screen right now. The universe is speaking. It's time we finally listened. For centuries, our closest planetary neighbor, Venus, has been a terrifying enigma. A planet where lead melts on the surface, where atmospheric pressure could crush a submarine, and where sulfuric acid rains down from the sky. We were told it was a dead world, a cautionary tale of what happens when a greenhouse effect spirals out of control. But what if everything we thought we knew about Venus was a lie? What if, hidden within those swirling poisonous clouds, an impossible secret has been thriving for billions of years? And what if China is the first nation to finally prove it? Stephen Hawking himself once warned us, Earth could become like Venus, a runaway greenhouse effect. He saw our planet's future in Venus's fiery present. He understood that this scorching twin of Earth wasn't just a distant object of study, it was a cosmic mirror reflecting our potential doom. Now, China's ambitious VOICE, Venus Volcano Imaging and Climate Explorer mission, scheduled for launch even as we speak, is not just about observing, it's about confirming something terrifyingly hopeful. They are hunting for life. The paradox lies 50 kilometers above the scorched surface. At this altitude, the temperature hovers around a balmy 30 degrees Celsius, and the pressure is surprisingly similar to Earth's sea level. It's like a narrow, habitable zone suspended in an otherwise lethal environment. For years, scientists dismissed any notion of life here. How could anything survive the concentrated sulfuric acid? But then in 2020, a groundbreaking discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Phosphine gas was detected in the Venusian atmosphere. On Earth, phosphine is almost exclusively produced by anaerobic microbes, life forms that thrive without oxygen. It's not supposed to exist on Venus at these levels. The findings were controversial, debated, and even temporarily withdrawn. But in 2024 and 2025, new data,
Some of it from Chinese atmospheric probes confirmed the phosphine anomaly. And then another impossible gas, ammonia. On Earth, ammonia is also a byproduct of biological activity. This isn't just a chemical puzzle anymore, it's a biological imperative. If life exists in the Venusian clouds, it means our definition of habitable zone needs a radical overhaul. It means life is far more resilient, far more adaptable than we ever imagined. And if it's there, thriving in an ocean of acid, what else could be possible in the cosmos? China, with its rapidly accelerating space program, is not waiting for answers. They are actively seeking the source of these impossible gases, believing they are not just geological curiosities, but the breath of organisms hidden in the sky. The implications are staggering. If life exists on Venus, then Stephen Hawking's warning becomes even more profound. What lessons can we learn from a planet that developed intelligent life only to turn into a scorching hellscape? China is betting billions that the answer lies within those clouds. And as they prepare to launch their ambitious mission, the question is no longer if something is alive up there, but what it is, and whether we are truly ready to face a form of life that calls an acid-laced atmosphere home. Want to know how China plans to hunt for these acid eaters and why their mission could bring this terrifying truth home to Earth? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is just the beginning of the most incredible extraterrestrial discovery of our lifetime.
The discovery of phosphine was just the tip of the iceberg. For decades, astronomers have been haunted by a phenomenon they call the unknown ultraviolet absorbers. When we look at Venus through ultraviolet cameras, the planet isn't just a smooth ball of clouds. It's covered in massive, dark, streaky patches that shift and change shape over time. These patches are absorbing nearly half of all the solar energy that hits the planet. But here's the terrifying part. Despite all our technology, we still don't know what they are. They don't behave like mineral dust or sulfur particles. They behave like colonies. Enter China's VOICE mission, Venus Volcano Imaging and Climate Explorer. While NASA's missions are often spread thin, the CNSA has designed VOICE with a singular, razor-sharp focus to pierce through the sulfuric veil and identify the chemical signature of these absorbers. According to leaked reports from the Shanghai Academy of Spaceflight Technology, China is using advanced polarimetric synthetic aperture radar, a technology that can see through the thickest acid fog to determine if these dark patches are made of organic matter. Why is China so convinced that these patches are biological? It comes down to the ammonia shield theory. Venus's atmosphere should be too acidic for any known life. However, if these organisms are producing ammonia, which China's latest probes have detected, they could be creating their own tiny bubbles of neutralized acidity. Essentially, they are building their own microscopic spacesuits. These dark absorbers could be massive clusters of bacteria that have evolved to feast on ultraviolet light, living their entire lives 50 kilometers in the air, never touching the scorching ground. But there's a reason this mission is shrouded in more secrecy than usual. The Chinese Academy of Sciences has hinted that the VOICE mission isn't just looking for microbes, it's looking for volcanism. Recent data suggests that Venus isn't a geologically dead world. Massive, fresh lava flows have been detected, suggesting that the planet is breathing from the inside. If Venus is still volcanically active, it means it is pumping nutrients from the deep interior directly into the habitable cloud layer. It's a perfect, self-sustaining ecosystem. The VOICE mission is the most advanced biological scout ever sent to another planet. If China confirms that the dark patches are organic, it will be the most significant discovery in the history of science. It would mean that life doesn't need a Goldilocks planet to survive. It only needs a way to adapt. But as China's scientists prepare to decode the data, a new, even more ambitious plan is taking shape in Beijing. Because once you find life in the clouds, the next step isn't just to look at it, it's to bring it back to Earth. It is one thing to observe life from millions of miles away through a lens. It is another thing entirely to reach out, grab it, and bring it into a laboratory. In what can only be described as the most audacious space mission ever conceived, the Chinese National Space Administration has laid out a roadmap for the Venus Sample Return mission, targeted for 2033. This isn't just about rocks and dust like the Moon or Mars. This is about capturing the atmospheric fluid, the very soup where those mysterious dark absorbers live. The engineering challenge is a nightmare.
To survive the Venusian atmosphere, even at the habitable 50-kilometer mark, every component of the probe must be resistant to concentrated sulfuric acid. China is reportedly developing new ceramic polymer composites and acid-proof coatings that are being tested in chambers mirroring the hellish conditions of Venus. The plan involves a two-stage process. First, a massive atmospheric balloon, an aerosol laboratory, will drift within the dark patches for weeks, filtering thousands of cubic meters of air. Then, a small, high-powered ascent vehicle will launch from the balloon itself, carrying the precious cargo back into orbit. But as the Cloud Catcher project gains momentum, a group of international biologists is raising a terrifying alarm: the planetary protection risk. If the dark absorbers are indeed living microbes that have evolved in the most extreme environment in the solar system, what happens when they're introduced to Earth's biosphere? These organisms survive on ultraviolet radiation and thrive in pure acid. If even a microscopic leak occurs during the return journey or inside a Chinese lab, we could be introducing a Venusian plague, a life form that our immune systems and the Earth's environment have no defense against. Some whistleblowers suggest that the urgency behind China's 2033 deadline isn't just about scientific prestige. They believe the CNSA has already identified biochemical assets in the Venusian data, unique enzymes or metabolic processes that could revolutionize medicine or energy production. The potential to weaponize or monetize acid-proof life is a prize so great that the risks of a global contamination are being sidelined. China is preparing a Pandora's box in the form of a sample return canister, and they are the only ones with the key. As we move closer to the 2033 launch window, the world is watching with a mix of awe and dread. We are about to touch the ghosts in the Venusian clouds, but once those samples touch down on Earth, there is no going back. We are no longer just exploring the universe, we are inviting it into our home.
As we look at the swirling, acid-choked clouds of Venus through the high-tech sensors of China's Voice mission, we aren't just looking at a distant planet, we're looking into a mirror. For decades, the scientific community treated Venus as a failed experiment of nature, but the discovery of potential life in its atmosphere has forced us to reconsider the most terrifying legacy of Stephen Hawking. He believed that Venus was once a garden, a world with oceans and a blue sky, until it crossed a tipping point. By chasing the ghosts in the Venusian clouds, China isn't just looking for aliens, they are looking for the data that might prevent Earth from following the same path. The geopolitical stakes are just as high as the biological ones. Why is China committing to a 2033 sample return mission while other agencies hesitate? Because whoever decodes the secret of the acid eaters, those mysterious dark absorbers, will own the most resilient biotechnology in human history. Imagine enzymes that can survive pure acid, or organisms that harvest energy directly from ultraviolet radiation in a lethal environment. The nation that captures these samples will not only rewrite biology textbooks, but could unlock new industries in energy and environmental protection. China isn't just racing NASA, they are racing to secure the survival of our species by learning how life persists when a world dies. But there is a final, more haunting possibility. If the microbes in the Venusian clouds are indeed a relict biosphere, the last survivors of a dead world, it means that life is much harder to kill than we thought. It means that even after the oceans boil away and the air turns to poison, the will to live remains. But is that a comfort or a warning? Stephen Hawking's fear was that we would realize the value of our planet only after it was too late. China's missions are the first steps toward answering that final question. Is Earth's transformation into a second Venus inevitable? Or can we find the emergency brake hidden in the chemistry of the acid clouds? The 2030s will be the decade of the acid revolution. When the first vials of Venusian air are opened in a high-security lab in Beijing, the history of our solar system will be changed forever. We will finally know if we are alone, and more importantly, we will know what our future holds. What do you think?
Is the life on Venus a remnant of an ancient civilization, or is it a new form of biology we aren't ready to understand? And would you support bringing these acid monsters to Earth? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. If you want to stay ahead of the next great space discovery, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. The truth is out there, hidden in the clouds, and we are just now beginning to see it. See you in the next investigation. For over 50 years, the far side of the moon was a no man's land, a silent, jagged wilderness that no human eye had ever seen from the surface. While NASA focused on the familiar near side, a hidden realm remained locked away, a place where radio signals go to die and where the laws of lunar geology seem to break. But in 2026, the silence has been shattered. China didn't just land there, they've started digging. And what they've found in the dark shadows of the von Karman crater is forcing every scientist on Earth to admit one terrifying truth. We have been wrong about the moon for half a century. Why was this place avoided for so long? It's simple: communication. Once you go behind the moon, the entire mass of the satellite blocks every signal from Earth. It is the ultimate dead zone. To solve this, China built the Qiqiao-2, the Magpie Bridge. It's a specialized relay satellite that hovers in a halo orbit, acting as a cosmic mirror to bounce data back to Beijing. Without it, exploring the far side is a suicide mission. But with it, China has gained a God view of a territory that the West simply cannot reach. In February 2026, the Chang'e 6 samples, nearly 2 kilograms of pristine far side soil, delivered a bombshell. For decades, we believed the moon was a shield that protected Earth from meteorites, meaning the far side should be older and more battered. But the new data reveals something impossible. The impact rates on both sides are consistent. This means the shield theory is dead. But if the far side isn't a shield, then why does it look so different? Why is the crust on the dark side twice as thick as the side we see from our windows? The Chinese Academy of Sciences has just identified fragments of ancient norite in these samples, dating back 4.25 billion years. This isn't just moon rock. This is material from the moon's mantle, the deep inner guts of the satellite that were never supposed to be on the surface. Something catastrophic happened here, a big splash, so violent it didn't just leave a crater, it reshaped the entire moon's interior. While the world was distracted by Mars, China has been quietly collecting the black box of our planetary history. But the most shocking part isn't the age of the rocks, it's the temperature. Data from early 2026 suggests the far side's interior was 100 degrees Celsius cooler than the near side during its formation. The moon is two-faced, not just on the outside, but all the way to its core. China is now the only nation with the keys to this mystery, and they are using this lead to map out the richest resource deposits ever discovered. We are witnessing the beginning of a new lunar empire, and the far side is its capital. This is just the first layer of the mystery. What China found next isn't just about rocks, it's about the very thing that will allow humans to survive on the moon forever. You won't believe what's hidden inside the glass beads of the lunar soil. If you want to see the footage NASA doesn't want to talk about and go deeper into the secrets of the far side, stop what you're doing and hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like button if you think China is winning the space race, and stay tuned, because part 2 is going to change how you look at the night sky forever. For decades, the moon was described as a bone-dry desert, more arid than any place on Earth. We were told that water only existed in the form of ancient ice, hidden in the dark frozen craters of the lunar poles. But China's Chang'e 5 and Chang'e 6 missions have just flipped that script entirely. They didn't find a hidden lake or a buried glacier. Instead, they discovered that the very dust of the moon is soaking with water, not in the craters, but everywhere, trapped inside billions of microscopic translucent glass beads. How did an ocean get trapped in glass? The process is a masterpiece of cosmic chemistry. These beads, known as impact glass beads, are formed when meteoroids slam into the lunar surface at hypersonic speeds. The heat is so intense, it melts the rock instantly, spraying molten droplets into space that cool and solidify into glass before they hit the ground. But here is the secret. As these beads sit on the surface, they're bombarded by the solar wind, a constant stream of hydrogen protons from the sun. These protons penetrate the glass, react with the oxygen already inside the minerals, and print water molecules right into the structure of the bead. Chinese scientists from the Institute of Geology and Geophysics have estimated that there are up to 270 billion metric tons of water stored this way across the moon. To put that in perspective, that's enough to fill over 100 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. And the best part? You don't need heavy mining equipment to get it. According to recent reports, heating these beads to just 100 degrees Celsius is enough to release the water as vapor. China isn't looking for water at the poles anymore. They realized the entire moon is a rechargeable battery for life support. But water is only the beginning of the lunar gold rush. Inside the same samples, China identified a brand new mineral, changeosite Yi. It is a crystal, transparent as a diamond, and it contains the most valuable fuel in the known universe, helium-3. On Earth, helium-3 is incredibly rare, but on the moon, it's everywhere. Just 40 grams of this isotope could produce as much energy as 5,000 tons of coal. China has already secured multiple patents for helium-3 extraction in early 2026, positioning themselves as the sole energy lords of the future. While NASA is still debating how to land, China has already mapped the energy veins of the moon. They aren't just exploring, they're preparing an industrial revolution that could power Earth for thousands of years. The glass bead revolution isn't just about science, it's about who will own the fuel of the 22nd century. If you look at the moon from Earth, you see a familiar landscape of dark seas and bright highlands. But if you were to fly to the other side, you would see a completely different world. The far side is a chaotic, mountainous mess with almost no dark volcanic plains. This is what scientists call the Lunar Far Side Highlands problem. For decades, it was one of the greatest mysteries in astronomy. Why is the moon's crust on the far side 20 kilometers thicker? Why are all the volcanoes on one side? In February 2026, China's analysis of the South Pole Aitken Basin samples finally provided the smoking gun. The leading theory, now backed by data from the Chang'e 6 mission, is as shocking as a sci-fi movie. Earth didn't always have just one moon. Billions of years ago, after a Mars-sized planet named Theia slammed into the proto-Earth, the debris didn't just form one satellite, it likely formed two. There was our moon, and a smaller sister moon about 1/3 the size, orbiting just behind it. For millions of years, they shared the same orbit, like two ships sailing in a line. But gravity is a patient hunter. Eventually, the two moons began to drift toward each other, but this wasn't a high-speed asteroid strike, it was a slow-motion splat. Because the collision was relatively slow, the smaller moon didn't create a crater, it literally poured itself over the far side of the larger moon. This explains the extra 20 kilometers of crust. It also explains why the far side is so dry and depleted of volcanic material. The splat of the sister moon acted like a giant cold bandage, sealing off the magma below and preventing volcanoes from ever erupting. But China found something even more intriguing in the ancient norite rocks they brought back. These rocks show signs of an ancient magnetic field that shouldn't exist. In late 2024 and throughout 2025, Chinese researchers confirmed a magnetic rebound that happened 2.8 billion years ago. This suggests the moon's core stayed liquid and active for much longer than we thought, potentially fueled by the chaotic energy of that ancient collision. Think about what this means. When you look at the moon tonight, you aren't just looking at one dead rock, you are looking at a planetary grave. The far side is the final resting place of Earth's lost companion. By sampling this specific region, China has managed to look back into a dark age of our solar system that NASA's Apollo missions never touched. They are uncovering our origins piece by piece, rock by rock. But if the surface is a graveyard, what lies beneath it? As China's rovers scan the ground with deep penetrating radar, they've discovered that the moon isn't solid rock all the way through. There are voids, massive, cathedral-sized tunnels that lead into the darkness, and that is where China's real plan for dominance begins. While the world's space agencies are racing to the lunar South Pole, China has quietly begun investigating a much more strategic location, the inside of the moon. Surface life on the moon is a nightmare. You are constantly bombarded by lethal cosmic radiation, pelted by micrometeorites traveling at 20 kilometers per second, and subjected to temperature swings from a boiling 127 degrees Celsius to a bone-chilling minus 170. But China has found the perfect shield. In late 2024 and throughout 2025, radar data from the Chang'e orbiters confirmed what scientists had long suspected. The moon is riddled with lava tubes, gigantic hollow tunnels left behind by ancient volcanic eruptions. These aren't just small caves. Some of these tubes are wide enough to fit entire Earth cities inside them. The most famous one, located in the Mare Tranquillitatis, just 400 kilometers from the original Apollo 11 landing site, is a natural fortress. Inside, the temperature is naturally stable at a constant minus 20 degrees Celsius. It is shielded by dozens of meters of solid basaltic rock, providing better radiation protection than any habitat we could ever build on the surface. And according to leaked reports from the Harbin Institute of Technology, this is the foundation for China's secret project, Laurel Tree, Yushu. The Laurel Tree project is no longer science fiction. In early 2026, China began testing a trio of specialized robots designed specifically for cave scouting. These include spider-like hexapods that can cling to the jagged walls of the lava tubes, and autonomous drones that use LiDAR to map the pitch-black voids in 3 dimensions. The plan is brilliant in its simplicity. Why haul massive amounts of building materials from Earth when the moon has already provided the ultimate shell? China plans to use 3D printing technology to spray a layer of lunar regolith over inflatable habitats inside these tubes, creating a permanent, multi-level city that could house hundreds of taikonauts. But there's a deeper, more strategic reason for going underground. A base inside a lava tube is invisible to surface satellites, while NASA's Artemis bases will be sitting ducks on the open plains of the South Pole. China's Laurel Tree facilities will be tucked away in the shadows, protected and hidden. It's the ultimate high ground. By 2030, while the West is still struggling with surface radiation, China could have a fully operational nuclear-powered underground research center, complete with its own internal atmosphere and vertical farms. The race for the moon isn't just about who gets there first, it's about who stays there the longest. And by claiming the underworld, China is securing a permanent foothold that no other nation can easily challenge. But as the first robots descend into the darkness of the Mare Tranquillitatis, they are finding things that don't fit the geological models. Deep in the silence of the caves, something is reflecting their signals. While the rest of the world sees the moon as a resource mine or a flag-planting destination, China has recognized its most unique, intangible value: silence. The far side of the moon is the only place in the inner solar system shielded from the radio noise of human civilization. No Wi-Fi, no cell towers, no satellite interference. It is the only place where we can hear the faint 13-billion-year-old whispers of the dark ages of the universe, the time before the first stars were born. By 2026, with the launch of the Hongmeng project and the deployment of low-frequency antenna arrays, China has turned the far side into the most powerful radio telescope in history. This isn't just about looking at the past, it's about controlling the future. The same technology that allows China to listen to the Big Bang also gives them a massive advantage in deep space communication. By establishing a permanent presence in the radio quiet zone, China is building the primary switchboard for all future missions to Mars and beyond. If you want to talk to a colony on the Red Planet in the 2040s, you might have to go through a Chinese relay on the far side of the moon. But the clock is ticking. As of mid-2026, the International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, a joint venture led by China and Russia, has officially entered its construction phase. While NASA's Artemis program faces budget cuts and delays, the CNSA is moving forward with Chang'e 7 to secure the water-rich Shackleton crater. They are not just visiting, they are settling. The moon is no longer a mystery, it is a proving ground. China's methodical, step-by-step approach has transformed the Silver Queen of the night sky into a red bastion of technology. They have the samples, the water, the minerals, and the silence. The question is no longer who will lead the next era of space exploration. The question is, what will the world look like when the most important decisions for humanity's future are made from the dark side of the moon? We are standing at the threshold of a new civilization. China has opened the door, and whether we like it or not, the moon is just the beginning. What do you think? Is China's dominance on the moon a win for science or a risk for global security? And would you move to a lunar city if it meant living in a lava tube? Let's have a real debate in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lunar secrets of 2026, make sure to like the video and subscribe. We have more investigations coming on the secret Mars missions and the race for the asteroid belt. The future is happening right now. Don't get left behind. Thanks for watching.